So I rushed my last 2 matches. Now y'all gonna see how I warm up. All right, as you can see, my first 3 darts were trying to hit the bullseye, but I was way off. First dart hit single 11, so I figured I'd round the 2 other darts off and work on my group first. Once I get the group down, then I can focus on accuracy, moving that group from one spot to another. All right, so we're now 21 darts in, and yeah, got 1 double and 1 single bullseye. This is my first dart, a little flyer to the right, but I was able to adjust that. So that's what we're looking for, and a good warm up. All right, so usually I start with 30 darts at bowls, but I'm not too hot with those numbers, so let's keep going. All right, well, I feel warmed up, but those numbers are still not hot, but I'll get there. All right, so after I moved to bowls, I moved to a number I'm comfortable with. This time it's 17. As you can see, here's my first 3 darts at 17. We'll do the same thing. We'll do either 30 or 60 darts at whatever box you want, and then we'll move around the board. Wow, that was hot. So now here I've completed 17. I got 1 double because that was actually a low double. I don't know why I wrote that down on this list because I actually do doubles at a specific drill. So when I try to close boxes, when I try to close boxes, I usually go for the cricket numbers because we do Chicago style here. We do 501, then we do cricket. Plus I like cricket because it also helps you with your shot group is what we call it in the military. Basically it's your dart grouping. So next thing I'll do is I'll actually move over to 15 because since 17 and 15 are next to each other, I'm a right-handed thrower, left eye dominant. I tend to go low right, so that's why if I'm already at the 17s, I can switch over to the 15s easy. You can also go to 10s or for your double 6 closing for 501. Let's work on that. We're gonna do 60 darts at 15s. All right, so here's a great example of a large spread over here, right? So we have our up and downs, not too bad, but our left to right is very wide. I was going for 15s, triple 15s, because that's the box I'm going for. But see how I hit a triple 17? So I got into the habit of doing whatever with my throw. I got used to hitting triple 17s. So now when I move over to a 15, of course my first dart is a 17, right? This 15 I moved over. I want to say I moved my elbow a little bit right as I released. That's why we see it go way off this way. I tried to overcompensate again, but I released, it looks like a little too soon because it's high. This is my 3rd dart. This is the 1st, the 2nd, and the 3rd. So we'll continue this routine and see how we get better. All right, so I've been going for about 20 minutes or so. At this point, after I hit 3 boxes, I'll usually take a break for a little bit. You don't want to overthrow, it's still a warm up. As you can see, single 15s, 36% hit rate out of 60 darts. Man, that's pretty good. I'm not liking the 5% triples. Contrast that with the 17 triples at the 13%, 20% singles. So yeah, I mean, we're pretty, not happy, but it's a good warm up. So now we move to the other side of the board. I'm also torn between what number I start with, but recently I've been doing 16s first. I tend to drop low and right, so I hit 19s for playing a cricket game, but I try to do 16s to dial that in because if I miss, I either hit 8s or 7s or 19s. This is my first 3 at 16, so let's dial this in. 12 darts in, baby. We got 2 doubles and 3 singles so far. Let's get it. This is a good example of me aiming for a triple 16 and hitting that triple 19. Look at my spread. I kind of have this downward swooping motion going on. First dart, 2nd dart, 3rd dart. So it's actually like an upward sweeping motion. We'll have to look at that on some body cams or slow-mo videos. All right, so I got 16s done. As we can see, the 2 doubles that I got for 16, I actually went for purposefully. I should have mentioned this before. When I go for 16s, I'm going for 16 doubles because that's just how we do closes, you know. This time I actively tried to hit triples, and as you can see, I can hit a triple. I got 0% on that. 26% on the singles, not too bad. Not my highest, not my strongest number, but yeah, we'll see if we can work on that. Usually I'm good at 19s, but I wasn't too hot here. Very slow. I started slamming singles right at the end, though. It got me up to a 28% in the singles, but triples I'm usually better at, 3% surprising. Again, our focus point is the triples when we're going for these boxes, and any fallout counts as singles. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. All right, now for my worst number. Actually, those weren't too bad for the first 3 darts of 18. I'm not usually that good for the first 2. Let's get it. I really need to jinx myself more often because 18s have historically been my terrible number, but look at that, 36% in singles. I can tell you that has not happened in a while, if ever. So 0% triples, man. Yep, so I'm still not good on that. Got 2 doubles, not too bad, 3% on that. So overall, like, this is the overall warm-up. Percentages, keep stats to track progress. That's what we do around here. So yeah, now on to 20s. All right, so we made it through most of the boxes of cricket. The only thing we have outstanding is the 20s. That is for a reason, right? So we got our 16s, 19, 17, 15, and 18, and bulls, of course. Overall, it's been about an hour minus talking and recording. So if you are on pace, this is where I now take my second break. When I come back, I'm going to spend more times on 20s. So we've matched our precision by getting our groups tight. Then what we're gonna do is we move up to our triple 20s. That's gonna be a whole new drill exercise. We'll do triple 20s. We're gonna measure our fallout single 20s as well as our doubles. And then, as you can probably imagine, after we do our triples, we move to our doubles. Then the last drill will be maxing all the doubles around on the board. And we're gonna identify what doubles we like. And then from there, we stop with cricket and move on to whatever 501 boxes and closing that we need to. Well, they're my 20s. A lot more singles than I expected, 38%. A lot less triples and doubles, but I wasn't going for doubles. Triples, I only got 2. I think I had 1 bounce out, but obviously didn't count. So not too bad. Not my best, but also not my worst. All right, so I made this little cleaned up scorecard showing the hit rates. In one column, we have the triples percentage hit rate. In the other, we have the singles, and obviously for the bullseye, we have doubles and singles. Not really a numbers guy, but numbers tell us a lot. So with 60 darts, these are my percentage rates for each box, and something to look forward to as we progress and get better.